Hi everyone, this is the Do3 Podcast. This is for anyone who loves swimming, cycling or running, or of course, likes to do all three. My name is Dave Knight and I'm a professional triathlon coach based in the UK. Along with my excellent co-coaches, who you'll get to know along the way, we spend our daily lives helping those who love to swim, bike and run. We want this podcast to inspire you, motivate you, make you laugh and cry, have fun and learn a thing or two. We want to help you get the most out of the sports that you love. I'm glad you found us and we hope you stick around. Welcome to the Do3 Podcast. Hi everyone, so in this podcast we talk to Joe Day and Sam Tebby. Now Joe and Sam are both regular people who are both aiming to complete some pretty epic challenges. Now Joe is training to complete her first full distance triathlon at Ironman Barcelona and has come to the sport as an absolute novice. She didn't even own a bike and could barely swim. Now Sam talks about how he actually managed to complete Ironman Wales on virtually zero experience. He also goes on to talk about his next challenge, which is a 100-kilometre ultra event across the Arctic tundra, again, with little to no experience. We hope as regular people who have set themselves extraordinary challenges, you find this podcast inspiring and motivating. And we would love to hear some of your comments and feedback, so leave them down below and we'll make sure Joe and Sam get to see them. Finally, if you enjoy this podcast, please consider subscribing and click the bell to be notified of new videos. Our channel is here to help and support regular people get into and improve at the sports we love. Enjoy the podcast.
So, welcome to Sam and Joe. I think this is going to be an interesting podcast. I think it's going to be a bit like, I don't mean interesting as in boringly interesting. I mean interesting for me to try and control as a podcast person. So I invited you guys in because obviously I know you and I coach you. That's not the reason you're here, but you're here because you're interesting and you've got interesting things happening and you've got interesting things coming up, and I think you'd be good to talk to. I think people hopefully find it good to listen to. So why don't we start by do a little intro, just say who you are, and let's start by saying what's your kind of, if we say athletic background, I don't mean the Olympics, whatever you can think of. All right, and we'll start there and then we'll go from there. Okay. So Joe.
First of all, I would not describe myself as an athlete in any way, shape or form. So I am a slow runner would be my description of myself in a sporting activity. So I've always run slowly all my life, and then over the years it's kind of ramped up a little bit in more and more distance, so like ultra distances, but equally still very slowly. Did a 70-mile run last year. Got to the end of that, cried for a full marathon, and then there was a bit of a what shall I do next, and then I thought I know I can run a long way. What is also a long way? I know, Ironman.
What else?
That's how I ended up here. That's how it happened.
Okay,
that's me. So I'm a runner, right, first and foremost.
So we'll come back to those. What about you, Sam?
I don't know. I don't have any background in any athletic. I just stumbled across it. I found it was a good way of releasing some just issues and things.
Sure.
I signed up to my first Ironman with no experience, and when I completed it, I was like, "What is this?" And it was from there just bounced me forward. I was interested in the gym, but then finding endurance sport has suddenly unlocked huge and massive things in me, and I just enjoy endurance sports. It relieves a lot of it's pressure, but thinking time. I mean, you hit the dark moments, And even in the training, but also at the race, you go through some dark moments. When I did the 100-mile run, you go through crying, but you're crying, but joy cry. It's a weird cry. You go through huge amounts of different experiences. And yeah, so I was always interested in fitness, but I just stumbled across endurance and it led me here.
Okay. And I know, obviously, because I coach you, I know you've got big things coming up. So you've got your Ironman. Have you got anything planned after that?
I've got a 100-mile run in July next year.
Okay.
Felt like I needed something in the offing, and that was...
So people listening to this, right, have gone, okay, so we're selling you as normal, regular people. You've said that you've done 70 miles, you're doing an Ironman, you're doing a 100-mile run next year. Do you consider yourself to be a normal?
Very much so. It's walkable. The cut-offs for the 100-miler is you can walk the whole thing. So it's infinitely achievable, I think, if you can train and just keep putting one foot in front of the other. So I think walking 100 miles is a massive ask for most people. Yeah, I guess so. But it's definitely not because I'm not competitive, I think. So it's about getting to the end, really. So that's where I think, that's where I consider myself very much a normal person, because I'm not driven by competition and, being better than other people. I just want to see what I can do. Not at all. Just want to see what I can do and how far I can get. I think it's also because I'm 40 next year and I'm trying to do hundreds of things before I'm 40.
So what's going to happen there?
I don't know.
You're going to
I don't know.
retire or something?
I keep saying never again. Every time I do something, my friends laugh.
Always going to be something.
There will always be something. But what I don't know what will be next. But I very much consider myself a normal, thoroughly average person in terms of sporting and activity levels.
So Sam, just going back to you, you mentioned about your Ironman no training. Now, I remember our first conversation, Sam, when you called up and said, I want to do an Ironman. I've just done one and I turned up, hadn't trained for it and got round it. And I thought you were taking the mickey. I genuinely thought, surely not. Surely, because the way you described it, it was you like literally pitched up on race day and made the whole thing up from the start and didn't really know what you were doing and found your way through it. Was that genuinely?
That's exactly what happened.
I know.
I didn't even know anything. I just followed.
So what led you to enter the Ironman then? Where did it come from?
Came from loneliness.
Okay.
And a sense of finding myself. It's like I got a tattoo when I was younger because I was lost and lonely, and I just decided I want an identity. And yeah, it was built out of trying to find a purpose. You're always striving for a purpose. And I entered the Ironman thinking, how hard could it be? Initially, the reason what got me into it was a video on YouTube, and I was looking at time management, and it said, we are running out of time. And I was like, it's like, what are you going to do with the time you have left? And I saw the clips of Ironman, and I was like, I want to do that. So I signed up to Ironman Wales. I didn't train. I had a lot going on. Had my mum cancer sick, living with me, which is another story. And I didn't have any time with my job. I don't have any time. And I just learnt within a month, I learned to swim. I'll get a bike. I've never had cleats. I've just watched it on YouTube, how these people do it. And I stood at the start line and I felt like a bit of a fraud, because there was lots of people there saying, oh, look at all the dark moments you've had through the training. You've trained for this, and I feel like a fraud. I stood, and as I was going down to the swim start, and yeah, I felt like a fraud.
Because you hadn't done...
I hadn't done the training.
Preparation, like the vast majority of them will have done.
Not one bit. I didn't even know I just watched it on YouTube.
But you knew the distances.
Yeah, but it's just in my head.
just
It's
numbers.
not. It's numbers. It doesn't mean anything. Like in next week, I've got not this weekend, but next weekend, I've got 50-mile run. It's just 2 marathons. That's how I see it. It's just 2 marathons. End of story. There's a bit of elevation in it, but it's just 2 marathons.
Well, we've got to know you over the last 12 months or so, Sam, and we know that you will kind of just go and do these incredible things. I think you're a pretty special guy, if you don't mind me saying, because I wouldn't be able to go and do the things that you go and do without, because you keep yourself really fit, don't you? You keep yourself fit anyway.
Yeah.
And because of that, you can get through a lot of these things. Whereas regular people off the street, they're going to be able to turn up and run 2 marathons back to back. They couldn't run 10K or 5K, some of them, so don't underestimate the shape that you have to be in to do the things. But equally, I think you've got really good mental strength. And that's if anything, for endurance sport is the more powerful tool, if you like, to get you through these things. And as we've got to know you, you've definitely seen that. So you signed up to Ironman. You're still on the start line. Had you swum? So the people, if people listening, they know what an Ironman. I'm just going to say what an Ironman is, so people know what we're talking about here. So 3.8k swim, 180k bike, and then 42k run. So a marathon at the end. Had you ever swum 3.8k in the sea?
No, never. I swam. I trained the month before. I swam, say, in the Cotswold lakes there near Cirencester, and I just swam a bit, and I was like, oh, that's 750. Oh, I did 2 750s. Oh, I could do 3 times that side. That'd be fine. That's only like 3 times. And then, like with the cycling, it was like, oh, I cycled a route that took me an hour. I was like, okay, so that would take me about 3 hours. Oh yeah, I could, that'd take me 6 hours, sorry, these routes. And I'd just work it out in my head, just times, like, could I do, yeah, that would be fine. And I did a 6-mile run. I was like, oh, that'll take me that long. Yeah, I can do that.
Well, they were the maximum distances you did?
Yeah.
So you did 2 750 laps, roughly?
Yeah. That's as far as I go. I do about an hour on the bike, which is just not very far now. Like, if I did it compared to this year, I mean, I travel some distance now in an hour. I can travel like nearly double what I could do then. So yeah, it was completely different.
Did you have any idea how long you'd be out there when you were standing on the sideline?
No, I said to myself, I've got to be back for, and then like I did with the triathlon I did there, I set myself a time, lunchtime or before sunset. So I said, I've got to be finished before the sun goes down. So in my head, it's just like, yeah, 12, that's like, I got 13 hours. Yeah, I could do it, yeah.
What time did you do?
So it was 12 hours and 53 minutes, which is really slow compared to like a lot of people.
But that's crazy, isn't it? That's
Ironman, and for virtually no training and no experience.
No, and I did stop for a bit to help somebody, because I found that when I do these races, I'm not competitive like some people. I'm very inclusive, or I'll cheer people on, or, I've noticed that I just like cheer people on as I'm going. Somebody's in trouble.
Social.
I'm going for the social, yeah.
What about, because there's obviously, we coach people to do triathlons, all different distances, Ironman as well. And there's, so the proper preparation for Ironman, Sam, as we know, because we're going through it again now for Wales, aren't we, is a long training program, depending where you're coming from, weeks and weeks and weeks of progressive training, and not just training to do the fitness side of things, but also the kind of mental strength, but also the nutrition. It's a vital part of any distance sport, really. What did you do for that?
I made flapjack. I thought that if racehorses, they eat oats and molasses, so can I.
So talk me through that then. I'm sorry I break it down, but I'm fascinated by the because we get into detail when we're coaching people. So I'm interested in what's on the flip side of that. So you're gonna have flapjack. How much flapjack did you have?
I was hungry.
Where did you carry it? In your pocket?
No, I had like I got a Binto box because I was watching. There's people like I've looked at bikes and they had like little Binto box, which I've lost mine where I'll go anyway. And I just shoved it down, but it was really messy because it's like trying to get it out when you're on your bike, and like in the tri-suit, it's really messy. But I didn't eat much really. Actually, I didn't really feel myself as well as I should. I just like ate when I was hungry, or like, oh, I'm feeling a bit peckish, I'll just eat something. And that was it really.
So that's what you did last year when you were complete newbie to it.
Yeah.
You do it again this year. Are you still going to have flapjack, or are you going to do it?
I probably will have. No, I'll do something different. I will use energy gels and a mixture of food as well. But I will use flapjack because it seems to fill my stomach. It seems to work. I will use some of that stuff, but I will also do it a lot differently. As in, I would use the energy gels and electrolytes, which I didn't have any of that. I just went on with, and I didn't take from the aid station. I just took water because I didn't know what the other stuff was, and I didn't know if it would just, because I just knew, water's fine, just take water.
Safe with water.
Yeah.
I see. So I didn't have any. I just carried on. It was just keep going, and that's it. Don't stop.
Yeah, this is where I think your mental strength comes in, because I've done a fair few Ironman along the way, and almost without fail, at some point in the run, I've thought, this is hell. What am I doing here? I want it to be over. But you keep going. But I'm really conscious of how my body is feeling and the fact that I want to stop. You seem to have a mechanism where you can just kind of blank that out and keep going.
Yeah, I do. I broke my fibula. And I didn't know it was broken. I've actually broken it in half, and the head of the fibula has come out my knee, and it has no pain. And I'm going into an Ironman with a bone sticking out, out my knee. But no, I didn't feel it. I fell, and I just thought I sprained it, and I was more worried about taking time off work. And so through those periods of resting, and now I run a week later on it. So no, I don't feel it. I just block it out. Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a good thing. No.
Would you say you block things out, Joe?
No. I think I very much...
You kind of voice it a bit more.
Embrace it when I'm cranky and tired and grumpy about it all. But I think that's the draw of it for me, is to see... what do I have to do? Where do I have to go to get to the end of this thing? Like, that's the fascination for me, is when I'm in a mental dark place, what do I have to do to keep going? So, tested that out on 70 miles where there was quite a lot of darkness, and how do I keep going? And that's the draw for the Ironman, I think. So I think I'm quite vocal. There'll be other people here who know that about me when I'm tired or grumpy or fed up. But I was taught by... I had an ultra running coach before I joined you, to do a body check. So if you find yourself getting into a dark place or thinking, this bit hurts, well, rate it out of 10. How much does it hurt? Oh, my big toe hurts. Okay, it hurts about a 4 out of 10. I'll come back to that in an hour. So that if you build skills, you'll know this, Sam. You build skills to pass the time. So if you've done a body check for an hour, you then file that away. I'm not thinking about my sore big toe anymore. I'll think about it again in an hour and check it again. And actually when you're like, oh no, it's still a 4. So actually that's not really a massive problem. I can carry on. So it's finding those mental skills, I think. But I am probably I definitely don't quietly get on with it. Like Sam does. I will be quite... Anita was going to run with me on Sunday, and I said, I'd rather run by myself so I could be grumpy on my own.
But it is sometimes nice to go out and just do your own thing, isn't it? And not have someone else. If you're not feeling great and you want to slow down, have a walk, no one's going to criticize you. It's all up to you, isn't it? But when you're training with other people, there can be a bit of pressure too. Well, you got to keep going, haven't you? Because you don't want to hold everybody else up.
Especially like good athletes who are, at the top of their sport, and then I'm there blundering along with my T-Rex arms. I'd much rather just do that by myself. Cycling, I find it really motivating. You've helped me realise that. Really motivating to have somebody else along with me. But running, I like to do by myself, so I can just do what I'm doing at the speed I want to do it. If I want to walk for a bit, I'll walk for a bit. So, yeah, but I definitely don't quietly block things out.
So you're training for Ironman Wales. You're training for Barcelona even. Should know that, shouldn't I? I've seen coaching.
You chose it, then.
Barcelona. So how many weeks? 5 weeks? 4 weeks? 5 weeks?
6 weeks.
6 weeks now. Okay, so how would you say that you're enjoying the training that you've been doing? How would you kind of describe it? Be honest.
Oh, that's a good question. At the moment, no, it's a chore.
Okay.
I've definitely, the last couple of weeks have been really just head down, get it done. I work full time, so I'm really finding now as the hours of training build up. I can be busy training or I can be busy at work. The two don't go well together. And trying to find it, and we've found a way through that. Really, what is manageable, what is doable. I've definitely enjoyed the process, and certainly had a big brick to do on Sunday. And the thought of doing it was much worse than the actual doing. I spent all week winding myself up for it. Oh, I got 7 hours. Oh, I've got so much to do. And then actually, when I got out and did it, I had a lovely time. So it's not easy. I've given up a lot. I've had to let a lot go to do this. And part of me wants it to be easy, but then another part of me knows it's not going to be. I'm not like Sam. Like this will be sort of the peak of my level of effort. Like this will be, I don't think I'll have much more to give than Ironman if I get to the end of it. I'm firmly in the one and done category currently.
They all say that, Joe.
I would happily throw my bike in the sea in Barcelona and never see it again.
You keep on saying that.
One-way bike box.
You keep on saying
One-way bike box at the moment. But hopefully, I'm hoping that will change. But currently, it's the bike. I'm over the bike. I'm not
enough.
Yeah, I'm over the bike.
Really?
Yeah, I don't enjoy looking at my bike.
Or maybe because you're on a kind of proverbial treadmill, aren't you? You can't go out and enjoy it particularly because you're doing it day after day and you've got an ultimate goal. You've got to do the big rides. There will come a point, I mentioned this the other day, there will come a point where you can hopefully go out and ride your bike without the pressure. Ride it because you want to ride it, and ride it because you enjoy it. Go to a coffee shop and just enjoy the whole process of being out on a bike. Whereas at the moment, it's a job you've got to do, isn't it?
Yeah, get back on the turbo.
Yeah.
Watching Bridgerton on Zwift. And I enjoy Bridgerton. I do enjoy it. It gives me something to look forward to. And I like the structure of the training. I like that and I need that in my life. But it's the balance of the number of hours. And I never had a bike before October last year. Yeah. So it's all new. It wasn't a sport that had drawn me in previously either.
Yeah. So
the bike is definitely a chore at the moment. But then sending Anita out with me made a massive difference. We had a lovely time.
I didn't send Anita out. Anita.
You did.
Anita's behind the camera, everybody, in case you wondering where Anita is.
I offered.
Yeah.
But having someone, I wouldn't have asked for that. But I did enjoy it a lot more.
I sensed that you needed a little bit of moral support.
And that's why I have a coach.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would be very easy to think, you could
just bowl up and do it without any
help. That would never be me. That would never be me. But it is mental strength. It's definitely in ultra sports. There's that curiosity of what can I do? What am I capable of doing? How do I mentally push myself through these things when I want to stop and carry on? I think that brings a certain type of person to those sorts of events, and you as well, having done Ironman and things. It's when your body says no, where do you have to go mentally to be like, no, we are still going.
Do you feel like you're learning things about yourself then, in that respect?
Yeah, definitely. And I want to know I have the capability of when the chips are down, I can keep pushing on, even when everything wants to say stop. When most people would stop and give up, it's like actually when the chips are down, I can push on and carry on.
I think endurance sport's interesting from that perspective, isn't it? Because you do a sprint triathlon and they're hard for a different reason, aren't they? The intensity is hard, but with long distance sport, whether it be long distance triathlon or ultra running or whatever, you're taking yourself to those kind of, it's not just a physical challenge, it's the mental challenge, isn't it? Of your body's telling you to stop, you don't know if you can continue, and you're constantly having mental battles with yourself. And it's tough. For some people, you can train yourself for that, like you train yourself physically. But, some people are better at that than others. From what I've seen of you, in the races that you've done in the kind of the build up to Barcelona, I think you're stronger than you think you are. I think you've got. I do. I think. Well, we saw it at On the Edge, didn't we, a few weeks ago? You were not massively looking forward to it, were you?
No.
And you were absolutely fine on the day, and short of not wanting to be interviewed immediately after crossing the finishing line, which I've understood. You got through that with, from my perspective, fairly minimal bother.
Yeah, and you had a sprint finish at the end, so you had. Yeah, I know. It's because I've been following them for ages, and they didn't get any faster, and I thought, well, I'll just get you out of the way. I really don't enjoy competing. If there was a way to just go and do Barcelona Ironman, having never done any events before, I would have happily done that, because I don't enjoy things that people thrive on, like the anxiety and the anticipation and that sort of thing. I actively avoid that in my life. I hate it. So if I can get to the start line, I'll be fine. But I don't know if you feel the same about it, but like the lead up to it, I really don't enjoy. And like, what if I'm last? Oh my goodness, if I'm last.
You've got this thing about me.
Oh, what if
I think it's quite common though, isn't it?
I'd just, I'd give up before I came last. I would. If I thought I was going to be last.
If you would.
I would. I would.
I don't think you
would. I would. If I was like, I'm definitely last, I'd be like, I'm out. Come and get me. I've had enough. I'm last. If I was thought I was.
But you're not competitive though.
No, I don't want to be last. I do want to win, but I definitely don't want to be last. Because in my head, if I'm last, I've overpitched myself.
not if you finished, because what you want to do is finish.
Wow, yeah, I know. I just don't want to do anything where I'm going to be last. But then if I finish it in 15 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, I will still be very happy. I will still be better. As long as I'm not cut off, I'll be very happy.
But
so,
has the training been harder or easier or as expected than you thought?
A bit like Sam, I had absolutely no idea what to expect.
Because you came into this like brand new.
Yeah. Couldn't swim.
No bike. Couldn't swim.
No.
Well, tell us about that then. Tell us about going from 0 to soon to be a hero.
This is entirely your fault. So I'd swum at the lake for years, ever since you started. Swum at the lake, but breaststroke, never put my head in the water. Happily bobbing along, listening to the water, watching the dragonflies. Oh, it was lovely. Oh, lovely. And I'd come year and year, but just by myself, kept myself to myself. And then I did that long run last year, and I was a bit like, nah, what should I do now? And I said to you one day at the lake, I was like, Dave, I've never spoken to you before. I said, Dave, I've got a mad idea. What do you think? And I'd mused on, maybe I could do an Ironman before I'm 40. Didn't know how far it was. I didn't know anything about it. Didn't know how much it was going to cost. I just had this like little nagging thought that had been going around in my head. Oh, what if I could do an Ironman before I'm 40? This was just before my 38th birthday. And he said, we'll have a chat about it. And I said, like a 2-year kind of trajectory. I can run, I can do long distances. And you're like, get you there in a year. That's what he said. So you've picked the race. I didn't know where to go. You picked the race because it's flat, absolutely flat. Don't run up hills, don't cycle up hills either, get off and walk. You picked the race. So I had no idea. I had no idea what to expect. Couldn't swim, never put my head in the water. Actively didn't put my head in the water because I didn't like it. I did your introduction to front crawl and then didn't really do anything with it. I did that earlier last year. And then once this ball had got rolling, did the improve your front crawl. That's how I learned to swim. So you've taught me to swim properly, front crawl. Bought a bike off of Facebook. So a friend's boyfriend. So Dominic Rain has been my bike guru. He found the bike for me, vetted it. We went on FaceTime when I went to see it, and he was like, yeah, looks all right. Bought this bike for 850 quid off Facebook. Had no idea, absolutely no idea. Refused to go outside for quite a long period of time.
I remember that.
Didn't want to go outside, scared of going out on the roads because I'm quite risk averse, and I just saw a lot of hazards everywhere. So I didn't know what to expect. I thought it would be hard. I knew I'd have to put a lot of time. I knew it would take a lot of time. I was ready to let that be what I did.
Yeah.
I was ready for that. And it's been, I think it's harder than I expected from the balancing your life point of view.
Yeah. Yeah.
The actual getting it done is okay. You just, if you just accept I'm going to be sat on the turbo for an hour and a half watching 2 episodes of Bridgerton, just is what it is. But it has been...
I'd rather do an Ironman than watch 2 episodes.
Oh, I've started again from the beginning. Of Bridgerton. It's brilliant. But things like my husband has to run the house. He does all the cooking. He does, because I'm spending a lot of time doing my training. But we knew that. I knew that was what it was going to be. I'm looking forward to having a break.
Yeah, I bet.
But yeah, I've come from nothing, which I think I'm particularly pleased with the swimming.
Yeah.
Having come from never putting my head in the water and being afraid to put my head in the water. And that's credit to you guys, really. And I was saying to someone the other day that you've taught me how to swim. So I've learned how to swim properly from the word go, which I think makes a massive difference. I haven't winged it and then had to fix problems or bad habits. I've learned that from the start, which means that my swimming is the thing I enjoy the most at the moment. Believe it or not, having never put my head in the water. The bike is, the less we say about the bike, the better. And the running, I'm used to just getting that done and sort of grinding that out. I know I've got those skills in there. So, yeah, we'll see what happens on race day.
I think what you've achieved, because I've seen you most with the swimming side of things, and what you've achieved there is just incredible from where we first saw you at the lake. And to talk about the event, your open water swimming event that you did recently. And so you swam 4K?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've done... So you said to get some sea swimming experience in. So I swam 3K in the sea down in Torquay. And then I've swum 4K around Rottnest Water. And interestingly, so 3 years ago, I went with a friend and did a 2K. So I swam 2K at Rottnest Water, breaststroke with my head out, bobbing along. Took me about an hour and a bit. And then 3 years later, I'm back swimming the 4K freestyle and was third in my age group.
Yeah, amazing.
So, which was really cool to be back in the same place and do double the distance. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the swimming and the open water. That's kind of the thing. And I've enjoyed the pool and squad and never would have gone to squad. Wouldn't have been brave enough to go. A bunch of people I don't know doing a thing I didn't know a pool boy was a thing. Or paddles. I hate paddles. But I didn't know any of that existed, and I wouldn't have never been brave enough to go if I hadn't have done the courses, the improve your front crawl, met some lovely people there who then go. I've done things that I would never have put myself out there to do in this last year, 100%.
That's so good. So good. So good.
And that's why you have a coach. That's why you come on board with good coaching team to do those things that you wouldn't normally do. That's why I think I probably would have given up ages ago. There's no way I'd have done a 7-hour brick on Sunday if I didn't have a coach, if I didn't have someone to keep me accountable. I'd have just thought, well, I don't have to do it. Don't want to do it. Not going to. Well, that's where I think I wouldn't be here where I am. Well, I definitely wouldn't be here, but I wouldn't be at that point in my training if I hadn't have come on board with Do3.
No, it's you have done incredibly well. And I kind of forget sometimes how far the fact especially on the swimming side of things, coming from like virtually not swimming at all, and you are a good swimmer now. You hold your own in the squad. You swim. You've done 7 minutes. You do 7 minutes for 400 now.
Not just 7:16.
7:16. Okay, so
You've been on the podium.
More or less 7.
I've been on the podium.
Open water events. So that just shows you you're a competitive level swimmer now, and that's just brilliant.
I can hold my own swimming, which is a really nice surprise. I would never have thought that would be what I would be strongest.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have. And until you try, you don't know.
Yeah.
So, and again, having good tuition from the start gives you the confidence to then go where you're going to go. Having someone you had to drag me out of lane 1 and then drag me out of lane 2 and keep shoving me on. Because I would never put myself out there to do that. And yes, I get cranky about swimming along at the back of lane 4 and I want to go back to lane 3. But given me, I know that you'll be like, no, stay there. And I wouldn't do that by myself. Never. I'd still be pottering along quite happily.
What about you, Sam? How's your training going?
Yes, okay. Yeah. Just with my work, it's just hard.
Well, tell us a bit about that. We go off a little bit of a tangent. Tell us about your work.
I look after a rich person. I've been a butler, and now I'm a estate manager, and I look after him, and it's demanding. And finding time and training is hard, and especially I've got a dog and 2 cats, and I've got to do my own house. I'm single, and I don't have any other support, and finding the time is hard. And a lot of the training I do, I sometimes just throw away all the gadgets and go and do training without being recorded, because I don't want to be recorded. I think Strava's can be a devil sometimes, so I just decide to go swimming and not tell anybody, or go for a bike ride and do a block and just not record it, because I don't want, it just seems a bit too much pressure for me. So yeah, I sometimes just unplug, and I think that's kept me going with the training, is sometimes just unplug, and then I'm happy, then I'm not stressing or not trying to go to hit them or compare myself, because I found that I was comparing myself, that people don't work. I work pretty well 7 days a week. I'm on call. My hours are from 16 hours, about 16 hours on average, 14 to 16 hours a day of work. I mean, taking the time off now is stressful because I've got things going on at the house, and it's just constant. And I'm on call at the weekends. I usually work Sunday evening, definitely. Sunday morning I do breakfast, and Saturday morning I do breakfast. So it's just finding time can be really difficult. But I enjoy fitness. And I enjoy being just fitness. I don't compete. Like I don't do very many races. Some people do a lot, and I don't really I just enjoy the fitness side of it. And that's where But
you, rather than being competitive with necessarily other people, you push yourself, don't you?
Oh,
so
I'm more myself. Yeah.
And
so it's like trying to get my numbers down. It's not with anybody else. And when I have raced this year, I've always, if somebody's gone by me, I've always cheered them on, saying, go and hunt them down or get them. I mean, in some of the people I've said it to, they don't respond back because they're so focused. Or I'll try and have a chat with them. Was climbing up the hill, up Edge Hill, and I was talking to somebody and they couldn't respond back to me. They were puffed out, and I was talking. I'm in a full-blown conversation, and they kind of didn't want to hear it. I'm not competitive in that sense. I'm competitive with myself, and maybe I should push myself more. I probably have got more in me, and when I did On the Edge, I know I had more in me because I just went past Anita several times, twice, didn't I? And I said hi to her, and I was happy, and I wasn't even pushing myself to the point where, and I went past the finish line, just basically trotted in.
Sam came past me, so I was on heading out on my first lap of the run. T-Rex arms were out. I was walking up the hill because I don't run up hills, and Sam came skipping. I'm not skipping past me, whooping and yelling. Woo, woo, come on, let me see it. What did you say? There's the aid station's just around the corner, which was a high.
It was a high.
On his second lap, absolutely bounded past me, having a lovely time, and I could see him over in the distance. I could pick him out because I was just skipping along. I was hanging. He was just skipping along, nearly finished. It was lovely though.
I've probably got more. If I focus, I probably got more in me. And with the aid station, it's always, I wanted to push you up the hill to say there's an aid station. When you do ultra trail run, aid station are like 10 kilometers, 26 kilometers you've got to wait to get to an aid station. At least with triathlon, they're quite easy. They're not, the distance is not far. I mean, when you do your ultras, they're just your aid stations. You're probably running for 12 kilometers before you even find an aid station, and like the longest distance between one is 26 or 30 kilometers. And then with me and when we've got our me and Corinne, when we've got our venture, we're going on an adventure together. We're going to we've got no aid station, have we?
We're going to need a lot of flapjack.
Yeah.
I think we'll save that one. We'll talk about that one in a bit, because that requires a whole separate conversation. You know about that? About what
Yes, I do.
they're planning on.
Yeah, real adventure.
We'll save that one. We'll save that one. So how come you don't? How do why do you think that you don't push yourself quite as hard as you could? Because what did you say to me when you crossed the finishing line on the edge?
I did shit.
Yeah. That's what you said. You always say that, in fairness.
But I wasn't.
And you do not.
But I wasn't in the mindset, because of my training is down. If I'm not training or not exercising, I am not happy. So if I don't have time, I'm just not happy. So I went into the edge, and if you look at my training peaks, I had like zero training again, like because of work pressure and everything. I was not ready. I didn't feel ready, and I rocked up, and I wasn't in the best of places in the morning. And I said to Corinne in the morning, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know why I'm here. Like, what am I doing? Like, I look at the other guys and girls, and they just look so professional, and they so like they've got it sorted. They're walking like their feet don't.
You can never tell by looking at people.
No, but I do. I look at them, and they're walking like their feet don't touch the ground, and they've got everything sorted.
They so aren't, though. Nobody does. Everybody's walking around thinking the same thing as you are. Everyone thinks that everyone else looks more ready and more relaxed than you do. But no, in everybody's head, they're thinking, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah. No, maybe.
I definitely get that. Yeah. Or someone walks past with a really fancy, loud ticky bike.
Yeah.
Oh, my bike doesn't make any noise at all. Like, I definitely get that. Like, what can I put where, and and triathlon that.
Oh, I said to you, have you got any tape?
Yeah.
Tape for what? What do you mean?
I forgot my tape. Well, I didn't forget my tape, but I thought I forgot my tape. But I didn't, just to electric tape to take my energy
oh, I see.
On the bike.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't tape them very well, so they started falling off.
Took away that feeling of like everyone else knows what they're doing and I haven't got a clue.
In my experience, no. I've always looked at other people and kind of, it's a bit like the Strava effect again, isn't it? It's you're always looking at other people, what they're doing, and always making an assumption they know what they're doing. I can remember walking to an Ironman race. I think it was at Ironman Wales, a particular occasion, walking behind some guy towards the start line, looking at this guy's calves, and I thought, that guy's beat me already because he's got the most amazing calves. And that was it. I've got no idea how well that guy did. But you you just psych yourself out with these things, don't you? I mean, what do you think?
The bike thing as well. You see someone with this amazing bike that comes past you with all the disc wheel and super aero, and they look like they've got they're going to have a fantastic position on their bike and they're going to be so fast. It just means they've chucked loads of money at it. It doesn't mean they have a clue what they're doing. Doesn't mean they've trained. Doesn't mean anything like that. And you see all these fancy bikes, and you just have to sort of think, well, you've obviously not put any effort into your training because you're trying to buy your time.
I'm going to try and reframe it like that now.
Have I told you about that time I went to Ironman UK and I was up watching, I don't know who was racing actually now, but we're watching all the cyclists go through, and it was in one of the towns that it goes through, and we were watching, and it's getting towards the tail end of the cyclists, and some chap came up on it must have been like a 10 grand proper top end TT bike, gave it to me, I think it was with Matt Linus, gave it to me and Matt to hold while he went into the pie shop
Literally queued up, bought himself something to eat, ate it, then get back on his TT bike and took off. So it happens. It happens. People will spend the money. He didn't have great calves though, so I wasn't
and he was like a pie, so
yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy what people spending money, and buying speed is a whole different conversation, isn't it? Because you must have, being new to the sport, you must have seen how much you can spend.
it's a big outlay.
Yeah.
But then you've been very good and said, don't spend more than, if you're going to buy something, run it by me first, because you could just spend, if you had a blank check, you could easily just spend thousands. I think the thing that I've got a good turbo, because I spent a lot of time on the turbo, so it's worth getting a decent one, and having some steering on what I actually need and what can go by the wayside. It's been really helpful. So I think I've spent the money on what I had to spend the money on, but I don't think I've bought anything I didn't need to.
I think you've done exactly the right thing. I think you've done exactly the right approach. And obviously, we're coaches, and I'm bound to say this, but if you're going to invest a load of money, then coaching is, in my opinion, one of the best places you can spend it. Because you could have spent thousands of pounds more extra on a bike, but it's not really going to make that much difference to you. It's not going to help you get to the finishing line.
Not for me, no. Wouldn't.
You need different things, don't you? So, there's lots of people spending money on bikes. There's lots of people spending £10,000 on bikes. I can't afford to spend £10,000 on a bike.
So as an outsider looking in, bikes are like cars. Bikes are very much like cars, and it's status, and I'd say I've got a very perfectly functional old VW in the form of my bicycle. It will get me from A to B. I do not have a Jag, and that's fine for what I want to do. But I think bikes are very much like cars. It's just a different extension of who's got the best bits, what bits you want to put on it, what bits you want to take off it. And, we went for a bike fit, which for me was really interesting. Didn't really understand a lot of it. I didn't understand a lot of it. And it wasn't for what I want to do. It was all about comfort.
Yeah.
And it made a massive difference from a comfort point of view. But you can do so much more with all of that. And I think knowing what is relevant to me and what I want to achieve. So what relevant to what I want to achieve will be very different to what Sam wants to achieve, and being able to pick the difference between, what's going to work for one person, what someone else is worth them spending money on to achieve their goal, I think is a real skill, rather than just being like, you need this, 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 and this. I was told I needed a power meter. I definitely don't need a power meter for what I'm doing. If I was doing something else, yes, it would be relevant, but for where I am, just don't need it at this stage of the game. But for other people, it's an essential piece of kit.
Yeah.
So knowing where to spend your money and having coaches to guide you on that, I think is really helpful.
I think you've done the right thing with the bike in terms of how much you've spent. Because I think you go too cheap, you can end up with problems. You go too expensive, you kind of potentially could be wasting your money. So you've gone kind of.
And we found a good one. We found it, we had good advice on finding a good one second hand.
Yeah.
And I've looked after it to the best of my ability. I don't know what I do. Dave, you had to teach me that you do need to put oil on the chain. You knew?
Well, you don't know. Listen, no.
Who knew? I didn't know. I wondered why it was making this weird clanking noise constantly on the turbo. I didn't know. I still didn't know how to change a tyre and things like that.
Yeah.
But, I've got a good one. I've had good advice on a good bike, but it wouldn't on a bike that is perfect for my needs, is what I'm trying to say. Rather than, a TT bike would scare the living daylights out of me, and I've spent my whole time falling off it anyway. I don't need anything easier to fall off.
Tell me about falling off then.
I keep falling off.
What did I say to you right at the start of your
You're definitely going to fall off.
You will definitely fall off.
I fell off. I in your triathlon, and on the edge, I got off and walked up Edge Hill because I cannot cycle up that hill. Just can't. I had to get off before I fell off. Walked up it. Got to the top, having a lovely chat with the people in the deck chairs. Oh, ha, ha, ha. Walked up the hill, ha, ha. Got on, clipped in, pedalled. My chain had fallen off. I just went, and fell off in front of all the people on the deck chairs. just literally plopped off from a standstill. That's happened quite a few times now. I'm very fortunate, luckily, on some wood to touch, that it's all been low speed.
Yeah.
But that was a massive fear. I was like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen if I fall off? I could just envisage bits of me on the road because you're wearing tiny bits of lycra and not a lot else. But actually, now that I'm doing, you said once you get outside, you do a bit more of it, it becomes a little bit less scary.
Yeah.
And Sam took me down Sunrising Hill, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, that was lovely.
Well, you enjoyed it. Which, and having someone to go with down that, descending at speed. And I was on the brakes the whole way down. Like, I'm not brave. But I would never have imagined myself doing that even in March this year, going down a hill like that.
Yeah.
And Anita took me across a really busy junction. We went around a huge roundabout the other day that I got off and pushed over that first time I had to go over it. So having people to learn the bike handling, I think, is a real big skill that you need. And you need people to teach you that, I think. I think it's very hard to learn that by yourself. You learn enough to get by, but making the most of your energy and being as safe as possible, you do need other people to help you learn that. Coming at it from nothing, like I have, not having a clue, having ridden a bike as a child, and that was it. The bike handling held me back to start with because I didn't know what I was doing, and I think I'm getting better, but from being taught from people who know more than me.
Yeah. You've done very well with that. So just sort of on the falling off side of things. So the reason I say to people when I start coaching them that you will fall off is I guess I'm trying to normalize it, in that it's not clearly you don't want to fall off too often. You don't want to fall off at speed, and some falling offs are better than others.
Yeah.
They're better than others, but it's not something that should terrify you to the point where you don't go outside, because if you ride your bike enough, the more you ride your bike, the more often you will probably come off.
Yeah.
Because whether it's your fault or someone else's fault, so we've all. Have you fallen off your bike, Sam? Have you fallen off your bike in the time we've been coaching? I can't remember you falling.
No, I haven't fallen off.
Well done, Sam.
Have
you fallen off your bike, Corinne?
Not many times.
Bike handling, I'd never really with the bike handling, because I ride a motorbike. I know it's different, you have smaller wheels, but I never rode a bike before Ironman Wales last year, and I got on this bike. It was just the same. And when I was out on the bike, Corinne showed me something to use my drop bars, but other than that, like clamping, or when you're going down and you get a wobble on, it's similar to a motorbike. I know what to do and to get a corner, I know what to do if I'm on my motorbike. I know how to get my knee down. So with the cycling, I can get real low into the corner, and I just use the angle so you get to the apex, and then you flip, then you just pull down, and then you get you round the corner. You don't want to do it too, and you read the corner by looking at the white, but also you can look at it by reading the hedge line and where the angle comes in to where the apex comes in, and you can see if it's an open or a closed corner to see how you get yourself into that corner and out.
Yeah.
And when you start pedaling back up, so when you start coming back up, you start pedaling, and that will correct you, that will bring you back up straight. You don't want to pedal before, because your pedal, which I found, will hit because I found out last year when I was training, I did fall off, but this was before I knew you, just before Ironman. I pedaled, and I started to pedal as out of the corner, and my pedal hit the ground, the tarmac, and it just flipped me up.
Yeah.
And I did hurt myself. I did really hurt myself. But yeah, that's what happened. But then I learned.
Did you because you hadn't clipped in before?
I never clipped in. That was the first. Yeah.
I used to clipping in with that.
When it fell off, they all it all flew off anyway. It was a bit weird when I first learnt on my own last year, but this year's been good. I have had good coaching, and because I didn't last year. I didn't know anything.
You do a lot of research, though, don't you?
YouTube.
Read up
I don't read, because we've gone over this today with the thing we're doing. You're telling me, we've got to have this and this and the other. I'm like, where is this information? And Anita goes, it's online. I'm like, yeah, I don't read stuff. Well, I don't read. I just like watch.
But you've shared some of what you've learned with me, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And that you realise, I was saying this to Anita on Sunday, I think being new to a sport brings out the best in other people who are good and experienced in the sport, because I learn little nuggets of information and I can remember which people they've come from, little things that people have, I've got a problem, someone's taught me how to overcome that. I'm talking to people who are more experienced.
Yeah.
So you taught me about descending and going down hills and like the theory behind it and stuff like that. And I find a lot of joy in that. I think people sharing their knowledge and listening to you learn as you go along and their experience of actually, we've talked at length about going up Edge Hill and the fact that I get off and walk. But there's been little nuggets that have come from people at squad and ideas and thoughts and things that come into your head in the moment. Yeah. You're like, oh, I remember so-and-so telling me that.
Yeah.
And you can put that into practice, which is, I find a huge amount of joy in that, in the training. Yeah. And I remember all the people that have given me advice. I remember who it was that gave me the advice. They're credited with that in my mind. So-and-so taught me that. Like Anita was teaching me how to balance going from the big ring to the little ring going up a hill, because I was on the bottom of my gears on the big ring before I changed to the little ring. So then my legs were spinning really, really fast. Yeah. And then I'd lose on my speed. Yeah. And I'd be even more grumpy about going up a hill. So we were working on that at the weekend. And it's that sort of, that's just people who are more experienced sharing their knowledge, which I think is, and to build a community where people can share that, I think is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So anyone that's given me any advice along the way, it's in here. I remember who's told me what, and that has worked and has made sense for me.
You have to. There is so much to learn, though, isn't there? As a new triathlete, there's so much to, and as coaches and as people who have been doing the sport for a long time, it's easy for us to forget what people don't know.
Yeah.
Changing gear, types of gear, how to handle a bike, how to go around a corner. It's just completely limitless, isn't it? About how much you need to learn. And
it's wingable. Like you could wing it by yourself, but you learn so much more from other people.
Yeah.
I could work it all out, or I could just keep doing what I had been doing, and I'd muddle through.
Yeah.
But by having good coaching and also talking to other people, part of the community, I know more. I know the better way to do it, and I'm learning new ways to do it as I go along, which I think was part of what I was looking for in picking up triathlon and doing this was learning and building knowledge and picking up something completely new and seeing what I need to learn about it. So I've really, really enjoyed that, learning from lots of, and people outside of the, Dom, who's helped me so much with the bike, and trusted people that you can pick their brains on, because, lots of people like to share their knowledge.
Yeah.
Lots of people like to share their knowledge. But again, that's why I have a coach, is because I completely trust your knowledge. I'm not cherry picking. Yeah, I know you've got you hold a lot of strings here. I don't have to cherry pick what you say to me. I know that what you're saying to me is the best thing to do, which takes out a variable of, I don't know if I really have to listen to that person. Do they really know what they're talking about? Or have they just got a massive budget? I don't have that worry.
Everyone's an expert.
You said that to me early on. Everyone's an expert.
Yeah, you got to find the expert that you trust and stick with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Otherwise, you can bounce around from supposed expert to supposed expert, and you end up not following any single path.
Yeah.
And it can be really confusing. And you mentioned YouTube, watching YouTube videos. YouTube can be a nightmare for that, because there's so much advice on YouTube. It's which, and particularly swimming, I'm thinking about, but it's across all the sports. What have you watched YouTube? You've watched YouTube videos for swim technique.
I never did.
That's how I learned to swim.
Right.
Did you?
Yeah. I didn't know how to swim before Ironman Wales, and I learned how to swim through YouTube.
But do you not find it confusing? Because there's
swimming confusing.
Because there's lots of different. There's lots of people. In fact, what's probably the best way of explaining it?
It's like
you get some people who are, for example, ex-elites or coming from a kind of a more of a regular swimming background, trying to give advice about how to swim, which is fine, but the advice that they give. So if someone coming to swimming as an older athlete was to listen to that, and they were being asked to do certain things that elites have maybe done for their whole careers, it wouldn't be the right thing for them to do. So they wouldn't be able to kind of hold the body position and do some of the drills that that person is telling them to do, for example. And we come across this all the time. I've watched YouTube. I've been trying to do this, and they're basically the thing they're doing is completely wrong for them, the way that they move. So it's a complete minefield, and it's just knowing what to watch and what's the right thing for you and what's not. It's particularly with swimming. I mean, riding a bike, the skills, I guess it's a bit more transferable in terms of, going around a corner is going around a corner. The skills and the kind of the way you handle the bike is similar for that. Freestyle, the way you move and the way you recover and the way the hand entries, there's so many different ways of doing it. And it depends how your body has evolved, what your range of movement is. It's just limitless. So it can be really confusing, YouTube. Don't know what you think about that. Corinne, have you found the same kind of thing?
Well, I think what we learned through the courses that Joe's been on and through our squads is that there's no two swimmers that swim the same way. You might have two swimmers who are the same speed, but if you look at the way they swim, it's completely different because of what you said, the way they move, their range of movement and their background and history in the sport. So that learning to swim the way you've done is very impressive from the start.
Yeah, you do it. You're swimming well.
To teach yourself to swim, and you're a pretty decent swimmer. Is really impressive.
But notice at the moment with all the training, and especially because I was never really strong on legs, and I was like one of these like blackbirds in the gym, which always did the chest. And I noticed because I had a bad back, and that's why I never did squats. But no, since doing cycling, I've noticed and a lot more running this year that my legs are heavier and my swim has changed. My swimming, and I tried to do some buoyancy tests the other day because I'm like, why am I swimming slower? A, because my wetsuit was leaking from my neck, and B, I'm a bit more heavier on my back end now with my more weight, my muscles on my legs.
Yeah.
It has changed my buoyancy.
Something on watching YouTube, it might not sort of address those kind of things.
No.
You learn with, you learn with a coach who can say, okay, well, this is why this is happening. This is how we need to adapt your stroke. Because of that, that's the difficulty with YouTube. And I mean, you're constrained by the fact that you can't come in person to a lot of the squads because of your training time.
I did learn a lot from you and Dave. I remember Dave said I need to open up more, and there's a chap in the swim squad, and he said to me, "Oh, I'll start here. See if you could catch me." And I listened to what Dave said and opened up. And I opened up and I caught him and I was pulling on his leg.
Yeah. Is that partly because you were set a challenge, Sam?
Yeah.
I think that's what...
Because I do, I mean, it's opening up. It's like, see if you can catch me. And they're quite a good swimmer. I mean, but no, I'm good at swimming fast for a short period of time, but not for long distances. It's still not built in me. And I don't know. I know that running recently has just suddenly clicked more. I mean,
your running is what you enjoy. You've already said it's where
I love
don't
it.
have to. You get the pressure's off. You don't have to think of all the stresses of work. It's just your space. You can switch the Garmin off and take the pressure off and just enjoy it.
Run.
Just run.
Yeah.
And you'll keep going for however long you can keep
That's
going.
it. We had that conversation. You said, "Oh, how do you do that?" I said, "You just keep running." I said, "Don't." It's really hard. I said, "No, don't just run. Just put one leg in front of the other."
Yeah, so for you two, that kind of distance running, the ultra running, and just keeping going, It's completely alien to someone like me. Who just like, oh my goodness, no.
But we're not going at that speed.
No.
Ultra running, you don't go at like a marathon speed. It's a completely different style of running, and it's you have periods where you go fast, and then your periods where you ease off. And then especially what you learn with ultra running, especially if you do like trail running or fell running, is going downhill. You've got to do a lot of downhill running, and then you learn on downhill that it knackers your quads and knackers your shins, but you learn a different style of running when you're running downhill. But it's a completely different style to marathon. That's why marathon runners say, oh, you've done 100 miles. That's insane. But you're thinking you're doing 100 miles at a marathon pace, and it's not.
That's why I never run up a hill. If you're going for an ultra at the speed I go, never run up a hill. It's a waste of energy. Walk up the hills, get a decent power walk on up the hill, then you'll catch all the people that ran up the hill.
I run up a hill.
And that's where we're different, Sam.
You'll never let yourself
Stop. That's where we're different.
So why don't we talk about the thing we haven't spoken about yet, which is your next challenge. I'm looking at you, Sam, because you're the culprit.
Yeah.
So Corinne has been kind of sucked into the vortex, which is Sam going to do this event. So why don't you tell us about what you've got planned for next year, Sam?
So when I train or when I'm doing stuff, I found that this Ironman training is boring. And I like training. I will, as the years gone on, you've got to know me, where I will just randomly pull stuff out. Oh, I'm going to do a 9 or 10 kilometer swim, or I'm going to do this, and it's not in the training plan, or I'm going to go and run 100 miles. And, you know, I haven't trained for it. I've probably been the coach's worst nightmare, because I find that setting myself those challenges, I can't just sustain to train for one thing for so long, and I need that kick. So I was looking at what are the most difficult what are hard challenges, and I came across...
Did you Google that? What's the hardest challenge I can do?
Yeah, basically, what's the hardest the toughest race, top 10 toughest races. Okay. And it came up with the winter spine race, which I looked into, but all the places had been taken. And the winter spine race has 293 miles all around that, up the Pennine Way, which Jasmine Paris in the ultra she did. She was the first woman to complete it, and she's incredibly she's an icon, really. To me, she is. And then she did the Barclay marathons, but that was all taken. And then it said there was another one that I watched a clip on YouTube again.
YouTube's got a lot to answer for.
He said, and the chap said at the beginning, this chap called Phil, and he says, this is arguably the toughest race. Toughest race you'll ever do. I don't even know if it's achievable. I'm like, wow.
That's
So I decided to sign up for it. But I wanted to do the long one, the 293 miles, but they wouldn't let me do it because I don't have any experience of winter running or survival. So I then got into it had a list of stuff you needed to do, and I not experienced. So they're very cautious of who they put in. From the previous year, they weren't so cool. They weren't so strict. I mean, previous years, like, it seemed to be like different, but I think they had a fallout, like where lots of people didn't complete last year. And so this year is a different approach, which I can make of it. I don't know if that's right. But yeah, so then I signed up for it, and then I sort of niggled and and wanted someone to come with me. And it was Corinne. I wanted her to come with me because when I spoke about it, I remember Corinne's eyes lit up, and it made me like melt inside. Because I'm a secret squishy, you know. So, and I was like, I want her to come. She looked so like a child, and it was like excited for this this thing because it is a challenge. So I've dragged her along, and she's coming with me.
So this is, I don't know, have we said what it is? Arctic.
It's an
Arctic spine race.
Well, this is it. I don't read.
Yeah.
Corin knows.
He signed us up for something, but he doesn't know what. He just knows it's
Yeah.
really cold.
I really don't know. This is what I went back to when we were speaking to Anita just earlier. Like, it is online, but I didn't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't read. I just signed up for it, and then I just turned.
You know
up
where
on the
it
day.
is?
Yeah, I got to sort out my passport. Yeah, I was going to say. No, I'm joking. Yeah, it's in Sweden, the Arctic tundras of Sweden. I mean, we've got wind speed of 40 and temperatures of -40, but we'll be all right.
We'll be fine.
But
Neither of us like the cold.
yeah, Corin knows more. Like she's read up a lot more on it than I have. I was just going to rock up on the day.
So this is what I said to you, mentioned before in terms of, oh no, it wasn't. I'm thinking of an old conversation. So the question was, why are you going to do it, Sam? Yes or no? If I say don't do it, are you still going to do it? Yes, I'm still going to do it. Okay, well, let's make sure you get there in one piece then, and let's sure you get through it in one piece. So we're helping you
To go.
both of you.
Yeah, we're both.
Do this, and it's an incredible challenge that you've taken on. And I know you think it's a sprint, but it's still 100 kilometers.
Triathlon, there's no sprint.
It's still 100 kilometers
66
through.
66 miles.
So, but it's 66 miles through, like you say,
Yeah.
the Arctic tundra. It's -40. It's proper Arctic,
Yeah.
Unsupported.
unsupported.
Oh, it is on
3 days.
There's no way we take.
Supported by each other who've got no experience in this. It's really brilliant.
But you said this to me before. I remember I did a swim. You told me you won't be able to do it. You never swam that distance before. You're never going to swim it. And it's the people in the gym as well. And that's where I work on, I feed off it. If people say you can't do it, I do it anyway. And if there's somebody says, like at the gym, there's somebody in my gym at the moment winding me up saying, you've never skied before, you don't know how to ski, you've never used, I don't know what they're called, I keep on forgetting, they're things that stop you going downhill on the skis. And sliding back down, yeah. So stops you sliding back down. I've never used them, but I don't even know what I'm only just learning on roller skis. And he keeps on winding me up in the gym. And I said to somebody the other day, let him keep on saying it to me. I want him to say more because those things I'm going to use. Because let his face, so I can see him, I can see these people and let them talk. Let them say I'm not going to do it because I'll come back and just dump the medal on the side. That's it.
So you're doing it as well then, Corin?
I am. Yeah.
And it's
I think it'll be great fun.
you explain it more because I don't know it. I just signed up for it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's 3 options for this race. So there's the full Arctic Spine race, which if there's any
Don't let him
opportunity
swap.
whatsoever, if I don't hang on to the back of him and stop him, Sam will do the full spine race, which is 293 miles. And is it 8.5 or 9.5 days?
You've got 9 days now. They've extended it. Yeah.
Or there's the middle one, which is 129, which
I want to do.
we might do. We'll see.
We'll see. I'm trying to push it.
Hang on a minute.
And
Yeah.
and then there's the Explorer, which is what we're signed up for.
See the way you say that, Corin, the way the Explorer. It's like
Yeah.
it was just like the throwaway. It's the little baby. It's the baby one.
It's not.
Don't enter the middle one.
No.
Because this is only February, isn't it? And
Yeah.
we're now in virtually September.
I know, and there's people like training. We've been signed up.
Training for an Ironman, Sam.
Yeah, but there's people who've been training and they're like, I'm in the woods, I'm hiking here, I'm dragging tyres. I'm like, I can't even use roller skis.
We've got some tyres lined up for you.
Yeah. We've got tyres and harnesses. We'll be fine. We'll be.
But I mean, I don't know.
It'll be amazing. It'll be the most amazing adventure.
Yeah.
Amazing. A bit cold, but it'll be amazing. And you'll get to find out, you'll get that, where do I have to go to get to the end of this? Like mindset.
Yeah.
There'll be a bit of that, I think.
Yeah.
So lots of Nordic walking.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Lots of endurance work and a bit of strength work for pulling, because we'll be pulling all of our kit.
I'll be pulling yours.
Behind. Yeah, you're pulling everything. I'm just going to sit on the
I think you'll be pulling. Yeah.
No, I'm sure that if we get like a tent for two, and then we just put everything on me, and I just carry the weight to start with.
I won't be able to do that. I won't be able to.
No,
Any more
we'll
than
be
you
all right.
won't.
No,
Let
I will
somebody
be able
else
to
do it
it.
for you.
No, I will do it. You just navigate and tell me what I should be doing, and that's it. And I'll just do it.
Mind the bears.
Oh,
They'll be sleeping. I think they'll be sleeping.
Oh, yeah, they'll be asleep.
Not when you two come traipsing past.
Just imagine the wildlife and the stars we're going to see.
Yeah.
How quiet.
It depends. If we get it done in a day, we won't see the stars.
Well, we will, because we'll be skiing overnight.
Oh, yeah, we will, won't we? How exciting.
There's only, so the sun goes down at about, is it 3:30?
I didn't read this.
So we're going to be skiing in the dark, Sam. We're going to be navigating in the dark.
So we need like good head torches then.
Yeah, we need head torches.
I think you need a damn sight more than just a head torch.
We need quite a lot of kit, Sam.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're doing some training on navigation and survival.
Oh, yeah,
and,
we got to get that one. That's
all
all
that
good.
sort of thing before we
Yeah.
go. Good. And then yeah,
So you get any ideas?
could be a team of
But
3.
it's going to be really good because you've set yourself a challenge for your 40th, and you've got one.
Yeah, for my
40th.
40 plus.
Yeah, that's it.
So my 40th birthday challenge was a triathlon, and 10 years on, it's kind of look what it's become. It's become my whole life. So who knows where it's going to lead you?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you might be working here in 10 years.
yeah, 10 years you'll be coaching and do podcasts and all of it, all the rest of it.
I'd
So-
probably be like frostbitten.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
Yeah.
because you didn't know you needed to have a warm jacket and wear gloves.
Hopefully next time we see you, Sam.
Nobody
you'll have
tells
all
me
your
nothing.
fingers.
This is what it would be like. I'm like, I didn't get told this. Anita, you should have read online something.
I don't know. So I think we've got to start wrapping this up because I don't know how long it's been now, but I feel like we could talk for forever.
Yeah.
Because you guys have, you've come a long way. It's a bit cliche, but you've come a long way in your triathlon and endurance journeys, and you've learned so much stuff. And I want people to hopefully take some motivation from this in terms of there's some pretty amazing things that you can do out there if you get the right advice and you get yourself stuck in, as you guys have done. And then it's endless because you're opening up a whole world of, like you, Sam, you enter the Ironman and then you discover you've got this kind of talent for suffering and for putting yourself. We haven't even talked about the 100-miler. We mentioned the broken leg. We haven't talked about the 100-miler and running on a broken leg. And we have to save that for a different podcast. But you've discovered that you found out something about yourself, haven't you? And that you
I don't see it in the same way as I've been listening to you, Joe, and I don't see it in the same way of like finding it just happens.
yeah.
And I just in that moment, and I don't do scans or find myself. It happens, and then when you're something happens in the background in my mind that when I'm on these things, it's just nice. When I was on the 100-miler, it was phenomenal. I mean, I fought through the night with a basically broken leg, and the morning came, and I was running up. There was some mines, the old mines that are abandoned up on a mountain. And I'm running up, and the sun's coming up, and you're hearing the birds and the cuckoo and everything, and something was reborn in me. It was like a rebirth, and I just forgot about the pain. I was in pain. I think I texted you. I can't do it. Like I didn't know whether, I thought I just sprained it. I didn't know I snapped my bone in half, and now my head of the fibula is sticking out my knee. But I didn't know. And I just And I got to that bit, and it's that endurance. It was amazing. Endurance sport has really helped me. And you'll find, I found along that way, a lot of people, age groupers, it's demons. They like fighting their demons along the way. And it's a form of therapy in the sense of regulation. It's how you regulate. I mean, you can talk about your problems forever, but you can talk and will keep it in the present. And when you're on your endurance sports, or when you're doing these, which I sign myself up to random stuff all the time, it's because I need it for regulation. Because I know if I don't have it, I'm falling off. And that's it. I need it to top myself up.
Yeah.
You said to me, well, when were we talking about? I can't remember. It just makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
You do it to feel alive. And I completely get that.
There's a feeling of being alive.
Yeah.
When you've reached those things, you can't do anymore. Your feet are hurting. You've got blisters. I mean, your feet are falling apart. Days afterwards, you've got leather feet. And, everything's hurting. Everything's been a loosen I went through when I broke my leg. I don't know now how I did it, but I was hallucinating. I thought I saw a train.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just find that place, and it regulates me. Endurance sport and triathlon has found me, especially more the long courses. Anything up is the better ones. The sprints, no, it's a different style.
Yeah.
But endurance has found me, and when I come across it, I found myself. And
it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Well, I'm glad you found yourself.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, in endurance
I
sport.
found some lovely people.
I found lots of lovely people, yeah. It's just I wish I had more time to train and more time to come to swim squad and meet people.
Yeah.
But I don't have that time at the moment.
What's come up with both of you actually is how difficult it is to balance your endurance sport with busy lives, because it is, endurance sports takes time, doesn't it? And it is so difficult, and that's a challenge for people who've got full-time jobs and kids and all that kind of thing.
But it is doable for a normal person.
Yeah.
It is achievable.
Yeah.
As like I said before, I count myself very much as an average, not normal, but an average person, and it is doable. Like if you work hard and you put the time in, it's not something that's, it'd probably be better to talk about this after October, but it is something that is within your grasp. If you want to do it, if you get the right help and the right support, people can do it.
Yeah, sure.
Difficult thing. If you want to make it happen, you can make it happen. Hard work, but you can make it happen.
Yeah. Will you both come back and see us after? Well, you come back in after October, after your.
About throwing my bike in the sea.
Tell us and see if you've still got your bike.
I've left it in Barcelona.
Maybe we do it after. Well, maybe after the Spine race. That might be, or maybe do another one after that. But we'll come back in and let us know how it goes. But just to finish off, I'd like you to put you on the spot now, Joe. I'd like you to, if there's somebody who's considering getting into triathlon or into endurance sport, have you got one piece of advice that you could give them? So
it comes with an anecdote.
I'm going to say that's the same question as you in a minute, Sam, so you've got time to think.
So I'm a university lecturer, and we were giving our students who are about to qualify like motivational cards, and I'm not normally down for that sort of thing at all. But there was one that came out of the packet that said, "Actually, I can." This card said, "Actually, I can." And I'm very fortunate in my life. No one's ever told me I can't. No, I've never been in that situation. But that is, if you think you want to do it, actually you can. If that's something that has been buzzing around in your mind and you think, I want to give that a go, whether that's a sprint triathlon just to get started, get to the end of it, whether it is getting a bike and going out on the road, whether it is learning to swim, learning to put your head in the water, if it's buzzing around in the back of your mind, actually you can make that happen. And there's things I never thought I would do. There's things I don't particularly enjoy doing, but I can make myself do. And until you try, you don't know.
Yeah.
So if you're people, if people are listening who want to learn more about triathlon or, you know, who consider themselves average, normal people like I do with a full-time job and a house to run, you know, you can.
Yeah.
You can. What you choose to do will depend on you, but what you want to have a go at and see if you can achieve, just try and see where you get to. So actually, I can.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. What about you, Sam?
Mine would be, if you're thinking about doing it, why not? But also on that, there's a quote that someone said to me once was, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The even better time is now. So, you know, you'll never be as young as you are. You'll never be, you know, as you are now. It would have been great if you found it when you were 20 or in your childhood. It would have been great. That would have been the best time. But there's no other best time than today, because you'll never be in that position. I said to you on the text message, I said, it's, you know, you'll never stop questioning it, like why I shouldn't do it. Just do it. Just do. And that's it.
Yeah.
You just have to just do it. To move forward with anything, you just step. I mean, the longest journey starts with a single step. That's what they also say.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have to do it. And you'll find yourself. And in endurance sport, I have found myself. You go to those places and you find yourself, and it's a buzz. And when you've found and you've delved in, and you will, it's just do. There's no other better time. You'll never be as fit. You'll never be as great as you are today. So just do it.
Yeah.
Well, you two, like, I feel like going around the block now. Go and do 20 press-ups. I won't do that.
Also, surround yourself with people who can help you and facilitate you in doing that thing.
Yeah.
So actually, I can, with the right support and the right help, and invest in what you're, you know, if you're taking on something mad like an Ironman, that is for me, put the right people around you to help you get there. Don't try and do it on your own. I would say it's almost impossible coming at it like I have from nothing. It would have been impossible for me to train myself for this by myself. It just wouldn't have been achievable in the time scale. So, you know, if you're going to put yourself out there and try that thing, put the right people around you to help you get there as well.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Then it's just investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just self-investment.
Yeah.
Because that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong by investing in yourself, because you find yourself.
Yeah.
And that's it.
yeah.
Should we leave it there?
Yeah.
Sounds like a perfect place to end. Well, thank you very much for your time. I hope people listening watching have found it interesting. Come back in and see us once you've done your epic events, and then you can tell us about what the next one after that is, because I'm sure there will be something else
I'll come back with
lined up.
with an M dot tattoo on my forehead. So and make
You're gonna get one?
100%.
Not on your forehead, though.
Maybe. I've ruled it out.
All right, we'll have a look at that as well. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
Well, we hope you found that interesting. I love speaking to these guys, and I can't wait to see how they get on. We will make sure that we update you and probably get them back in for a post-event chat at some point. So make sure you subscribe so that you can get your updates on how they got on. And if you've got any comments or questions, or you yourself are taking on an epic challenge, we would love to hear from you. So please pop them in the comments section down below. Well, that's it from me for today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.